Welcome to Higher Education Marketing Insider, brought to you by the Higher Education Marketing Institute. Today, we're digging into the new enrollment playbook, how AI search, structured content, and human outreach are reshaping how students find and choose colleges. If you're still optimizing for keywords and hoping for 10 blue links, you're already behind. Now, the front door to your institution is an AI-generated answer. So, what does it take to get cited by AI? And does that mean the human touch is obsolete?
Let's start with the shift itself. The Higher Education Marketing Institute's latest research is blunt. Prospects don't scroll through endless links anymore. They ask AI assistants for answers. Instead of competing for clicks, institutions have to become the single trusted source that AI references. That means publishing clean, machine-readable facts about programs, costs, and outcomes. It's less about clever copy and more about being the authority AI can quote without hesitation.
Exactly. The old saw game, stuffing pages with keywords or spinning out endless blog posts, is fading fast. According to Hemi, what works now is a canonical fact layer, structured data, downloadable JSON, tables, and consistent templates. If your program information isn't organized in a way that AI can easily parse, you're invisible to answer engines. It's a technical lift, but it's also a governance challenge. Someone has to own the process of keeping facts current and comparable across hundreds of pages.
And that's where most institutions stumble. Han and Hill, in their deep dive on preparing higher ed websites for AI search, points out that the problem isn't a lack of content. Universities are overflowing with program pages, admissions details, and student resources. The issue is consistency and structure. Decentralized sites, duplicate content, and outdated info make it hard for AI to trust, or even understand, what's true. Strong content governance has become an SEO strategy as much as an operational one.
Let's get concrete. Han Hill lays out 5 ways to prepare your site for AI search. First, create content that answers real questions. Think about what students, parents, or counselors actually ask. How long is the nursing program? What scholarships are available for transfers? Second, build structured, consistent pages. Every program should follow the same template, include atomic facts, and use the same headings and tables. Third, keep everything accessible and easy to parse, not just for humans but for machines. That means clean code, alt text, and downloadable data.
Fourth, they push for regular audits and page ownership. Someone needs to be responsible for each section, tracking updates and reviewing for accuracy. And fifth, invest in accessibility. If your content isn't usable by all, it's not just a legal risk, it's a discoverability problem. AI models increasingly penalize inconsistent or inaccessible sites. So, yes, it's a technical job, but it's also about making sure families and students aren't frustrated by hidden info or broken links.
Let's talk about the payoff. When you get this right, AI answer engines start citing your institution as the canonical source. Hemi calls this winning the citation, not just the ranking. That's a meaningful difference. If a prospective student asks ChatGPT about cybersecurity programs in the Southeast, and the AI cites your university by name, using your structured data, that's more valuable than being on page 1 of Google. The first impression is now mediated by algorithms, not searchers.
But there's a catch. Technology alone doesn't enroll students. People do. The same Hemi research is clear. Students don't want to feel managed by an algorithm. They want to feel genuinely known. That's the human touch part of this playbook. The most effective teams blend an always-on AI concierge. Think 24/7 chatbots that can answer verified, factual questions, with timely, authentic human outreach. Nudges about financial aid, one-stop advising, and communications that use a student's real details build trust and momentum.
And there's data behind that. Evolution.com's recent article by Alania Jackson, who leads enrollment at Concordia University, Texas, argues that personalization starts with curiosity, not technology. Students are used to Amazon-style recommendations, but what actually moves them is when an institution listens, asks thoughtful questions, and adapts communication based on their interests and behaviors. Automation can scale, but only human advisors can make a student feel that they are more than a data point.
Jackson even shares a personal example, her own daughter's college search. Some messages felt like they were sent to every high schooler in America. Others made a real effort to connect with her aspirations and stage in the process. The difference? The best communications weren't just personalized, they were relevant and responsive. They showed the institution was paying attention, not just running a script.
So, for enrollment and marketing leaders, the lesson is, stop chasing broad personalization and start operationalizing known user personalization. Use what you already know, applications, campus visits, web behaviors, to segment early, but keep deepening personalization as you learn more. Mix automation for logistics with genuine human messages, timely nudges, personalized videos. Even a quick call from a real advisor can make the difference between a prospect next or ghosting you.
It's not just about recruitment, either. Hemi's research highlights that this approach boosts yield and retention. Students who feel known are more likely to persist and succeed. One-stop advising, open communication, and flexible support drive trust and enrollment. The irony? The more you automate the basics, the more bandwidth your team has to handle the complex, high-touch cases that actually require a human.
Let's not skip over the channel mix. Hemi is clear. Email marketing remains the quiet ROI powerhouse. When paired with social, SMS, and your website, email delivers the highest conversion and retention rates. The playbook is simple but overlooked. Segment by life cycle and behavior. Send every 7 to 10 days. Design for mobile. And use clear CTAs. Tools like Emma, HubSpot, Slate, or Mautic make automation and attribution possible at scale.
Diana Salazar's piece on lead nurturing for higher ed email marketing puts it plainly. The inquiry is just the start. Too many schools fire off a generic thank you and disappear until the next campaign. The best teams use a sequence. Application tips, early event invites, tailored advice, deadline reminders, and access to real recruiters. MIT, for example, combines monthly newsletters with admissions blogs where students and staff speak directly to prospects. That's how you build a relationship, not just a pipeline.
And it's measurable. Hemi recommends focusing on enrollment and revenue metrics, not vanity. Track cost per enrolled student, qualified demand, and retention. Attribution matters. Know which touch points actually move students to apply, visit, or persist. Budgets that chase impressions are quietly leaving seats unfilled. If you can't tie your spend to enrollment or retention, it's time to rethink your strategy.
Let's get tactical for a minute. If you're listening and thinking, where do I start? Begin with an audit. Review your program pages. Are the facts current, structured, and machine readable? Do you have downloadable data, tables, and clean sitemaps? Assign page ownership. Next, look at your communication flows. Are you segmenting by stage and behavior? Are you mixing automation with authentic human outreach? If not, pick one journey, say, admitted students, and pilot a more personalized, timely sequence.
And don't forget accessibility. If your content isn't usable by everyone, you're not just risking compliance headaches, you're limiting your reach. AI models increasingly favor accessible, well-structured sites. That means alt text, semantic headings, and mobile-first design aren't just nice-to-haves. They are baseline requirements if you want to be cited and trusted by AI assistants.
I want to circle back to the controversial ideas in the Hemi research. One is that traditional keyword SEO is fading. The new playbook is about being the canonical source, not just ranking well. Another is that paid placements inside ChatGPT and other answer engines may soon outperform search and social for high-intent segments, especially graduate and adult learners. It's early, but ignoring these channels means missing out on where discovery is actually happening.
And here's the uncomfortable truth. If your site can't publish program facts as downloadable JSON, with consistent tables and anchors, you're effectively invisible to AI. That's not a scare tactic. It's a reality check from the latest research. The technical work is non-negotiable if you want to play in this new arena, but the reward is direct. AI answer engines will cite you, not your competitor.
But it's not an either-or. AI can handle first-line advising, credit evaluations, and scheduling. Let humans focus on complex decisions, yield, and the moments where empathy and judgment matter. That's how you scale service without sacrificing the personal touch. And don't be afraid to test new channels. ChatGPT ads, for example, as a test and learn opportunity. Policies are still evolving, but being early here could give you an edge.
Let's talk about measurement again. Hemi and Hannon Hill both stress that what matters now is attribution to actual outcomes. That means tracking not just applications, but qualified conversations, visits, and enrollments. Segment your reporting by channel, audience, and stage. If a channel isn't producing downstream results, don't be afraid to reallocate budget. This is about efficiency, not just reach.
And don't overlook the power of behavioral signals. Use your CRM, LMS, and registration systems to trigger proactive nudges, like reminders for FAFSA completion or event invites when a student shows new interest. Early warning signals can help you intervene before a student disengages. Here is where automation and human outreach work best together. Machines spot the pattern. People close the loop.
Before we wrap, let's touch on creative content. The Hemi archives are clear. Storytelling, student voices, and clear value propositions still matter. But now, those stories need to be structured and scannable. Think mobile first. Billboard-style program pages that surface 3 clear differentiators up front. Save the deep dives for later in the journey. If a paragraph fills a phone screen, it's probably not getting read.
And don't get boring. As Hemi's roundup on bold moves in higher ed marketing points out, being bland is now a competitive risk. Students and families want authenticity, not just polish. If your content feels like it was written by committee, or worse, by a bot, you're not going to stand out. Let faculty, students, and staff speak directly. Use video and visual content to bring your brand to life.
So, to sum up, the new Enrollment Playbook is about becoming the canonical source for programs, costs, and outcomes, structured for AI discovery. But technology isn't enough. You still need human connection, authentic outreach, and a channel mix that actually moves students to enroll and persist. Audit your content, invest in accessibility, pair automation with advisors, and measure what matters.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed, start small. Pick one program, one journey, or one channel and pilot these changes. The institutions that move first, clean up their data, structure their content, and double down on human outreach, will be the ones AI cites, and the ones that students choose. Besides, who wants to be the last school left chasing keywords when the real game has moved on?
For more practical resources, check out the Higher Education Marketing Institute blog. There are detailed guides on everything we've discussed: structured content, AI readiness, email strategy, and more. And if you want to benchmark your own site, Hemi recommends tools like the AI website grader from Search Influence. It'll show you where your gaps are, so you know exactly what to fix next.
Thanks for joining us on Higher Education Marketing Insider. If you found this useful, share it with your team. And if you have a question or want us to dig into a specific topic next time, send it our way. Until then, remember, the future of enrollment is answer-driven, but the institutions that win will be the ones who make students feel known.
We'll see you next time. Let's get into the weeds on what machine readable really means, because it's not just a buzzword. When Hemi and Hannon Hill talk about structured data, they are talking about using formats like JSONLD, schema.org markups, and clear tables with named anchors. For most marketing teams, that's a big leap from the usual CMS workflow. You can't just add a new paragraph about tuition and call it a day. It has to be formatted so a language model, or Google's AI overviews, can extract the exact number, deadline, or requirement without guessing.
And it's not just about technical SEO or passing a one-off audit. This is ongoing work. Hannon Hill's research points out that if you don't have regular review cycles, page ownership, and someone responsible for content governance, your structured data gets stale or out of sync. That's how you end up with the nursing program showing different credit requirements on 3 different pages. AI models will notice, and they'll either skip you or, worse, cite an outdated or incorrect fact.
Right. Here is where content operations and marketing have to work together. Hemi's content operations guides are pretty blunt. If you don't have a central data index, somewhere that houses all your core facts and updates, you're going to struggle. It's not enough to have a fancy homepage or a few well-written blog posts. The authority comes from consistency, accuracy, and the ability for both humans and machines to verify what you're saying.
There's a temptation to treat this as a checklist item for the web team, but it's more like a culture shift. You need buy-in from program directors, IT, admissions, and marketing, and someone has to own the process of periodic audits, especially as academic programs change. tuition shifts, or new scholarships roll out. It's operationally messy, but the payoff is that you become the trusted source AI wants to cite. That's not just a technical win, it's a brand win.
Let's talk about content depth and topical authority. Hemi's playbooks recommend building thorough, question-focused pages for every flagship program and service. That means anticipating all the questions a student, parent, or even a faculty member might have, and answering them up front. If you're only optimizing for the top 3 FAQs, you're leaving room for someone else to be the canonical answer. The more you cover, the more likely you are to be cited in answer engines.
But there's a trade-off. If you try to cover every possible question in a single, endless page, you risk overwhelming both readers and AI. Hemi's advice is to lead with scannable, mobile-first content. Think billboard-style highlights, then route users deeper for details. For example, highlight the 3 biggest differentiators for your engineering program at the top, then link out to more granular tables or downloadable resources. It's about layering information, not just dumping everything on one page.
That's a good point. And it's also where accessibility comes in. It's not just a compliance box to check. If your tables, PDFs, or infographics aren't accessible, you're not only shutting out some users, you're also making it harder for AI to parse your content. Hemi and Hannon Hill both stress that sites with strong semantic structure, clear headings, alt text, logical navigation, tend to get cited more often. Accessibility is discoverability.
And let's be honest, most higher ed sites have a lot of legacy content that's anything but accessible. It's not just old PDFs or broken links, it's inconsistent templates, orphaned pages, and outdated navigation. The fix isn't glamorous, but it's essential. Hannon Hill recommends regular site audits, automated accessibility testing, and a clear escalation path for content owners to update or retire old material. This is slow, behind-the-scenes work, but it pays off in trust and visibility.
Let's pivot to the role of AI concierges and chatbots. Hemi's research is bullish on agentic AI, bots that do more than triage FAQs. They suggest letting AI handle first-line advising, credit evaluations, and even scheduling. That frees up human advisors for complex cases, yield interventions, and the kind of conversations that actually build relationships. But, and this is a big but, you have to ground the AI in verified, up-to-date data. Otherwise, you risk misinformation and frustrated students.
That's where some teams get nervous. There's a real risk in letting AI handle sensitive or high-stakes interactions, especially if the underlying data isn't rock solid. Evolution.com's perspective is that technology should scale curiosity, not replace it. If your chatbot can answer the basics, application deadlines, program requirements, event sign-ups, that's great, but you still need humans to pick up the thread when a student's situation gets nuanced, emotional, or just plain weird. And let's face it, there's always a weird case.
Exactly. The best implementations we've seen use AI to handle logistics and surface intent signals, then route the right students to real advisors. For example, if a student asks about financial aid, the chatbot can answer basic questions and then offer to schedule a call with a financial aid counselor. That's not just efficient, it's respectful of the student's time and needs. It also means your human team isn't buried in repetitive questions and can focus on the cases that move the needle for yield and retention.
Let's talk about measurement and attribution again, because here is where many teams fall short. Hemi is adamant, if you can't tie your marketing and outreach to actual enrollment outcomes, you're flying blind. That means setting up analytics that track not just clicks or opens, but downstream actions, applications, visits, deposits, and even retention. Attribution is messy, especially in omnichannel environments, but it's the only way to know what's working. Otherwise, you're just guessing.
And attribution isn't just about proving ROI to leadership. It's about making smarter decisions. Hemi's channel guidance is clear. If a channel isn't moving students to apply, visit, or persist, don't be afraid to reallocate budget. Email, for instance, consistently outperforms social for conversion and retention, but many teams still chase viral moments on TikTok or Instagram. There's nothing wrong with creative social, but don't let the tail wag the dog. Spend where the results are.
On the subject of email, Diana Salazar's research on lead nurturing is instructive. The University of Toronto, for example, tells prospects exactly what they'll get after inquiring. Application tips, early event invitations, tailored advice, and recruiter access. MIT uses monthly newsletters alongside admissions blogs where students and staff speak directly to prospects. The point isn't to send more emails, but to send the right message at the right time, with clear next steps.
And segmentation is everything. Hemi's best practice cadence is every 7 to 10 days, but the content should shift based on where a student is in the journey. Early prospects get broad info and event invites, while admitted students get reminders about deposits, orientation, or housing. Alumni and parents need different messages entirely. The more you can segment by behavior, life cycle, and program interest, the more relevant and effective your outreach becomes.
But here's the rub. Automation can't do it all. Elania Jackson's article on evolution.com is clear. Students don't want to feel like they're being managed by an algorithm. They want to feel that someone is genuinely interested in their goals and context. That means mixing automation for scale with authentic, unscripted human outreach. A quick video from a current student, a handwritten note, or a timely phone call can cut through the noise like nothing else.
And that's not just recruitment fluff. Hemi's research ties known user personalization to better yield and retention. When students feel seen and supported, they are more likely to persist. One-stop advising, open communication, and flexible support aren't just nice. They're strategic levers for enrollment and student success. The irony is that the more you automate the basics, the more capacity you free up for the high-touch work that actually moves the needle.
Let's talk about the controversial idea that ChatGPT native ads and paid placements inside answer engines may soon outperform traditional search and social, especially for grad and adult segments. Hemi suggests treating these channels as test and learn opportunities. It's early, policies are evolving, and reach isn't massive yet. But if you're not experimenting here, you're missing where high-intent students are already searching for answers. It's not about abandoning Google or Facebook, but about diversifying your mix and being where the action is moving.
That's a tough sell for some teams, especially those who've spent years optimizing for organic search. But the data is moving. Hemi, Hannon Hill, and others are clear. Answer engines are becoming the new discovery layer. If you want to be in the consideration set, you have to show up with authoritative, structured, and citable content. Waiting for a consensus or a case study from a peer institution may mean missing the window entirely.
And that's where governance and agility come back into play. If your institution can move quickly, pilot a new content template, experiment with ChatGPT ads, or overhaul a program page for structured data, you're going to learn faster than your competitors. The teams that wait for perfect information or a full committee sign-off may find themselves playing catch-up when the next enrollment cycle rolls around.
Let's not forget the importance of brand and storytelling. Even in this AI-driven world, Hemi's content marketing and branding archives remind us that students still choose schools that speak to their values and aspirations. Compelling stories, authentic student and faculty voices, and clear differentiators matter. But now, those stories need to be structured in a way that's scannable, accessible, and easy for both humans and machines to digest. It's not either or, it's both and.
There's also a risk of over-indexing on structure and losing the soul of your institution. Bland, committee-written copy is a competitive risk. As Hemi's Bold Moves Roundup warns, students can spot inauthenticity from a mile away. The challenge is to balance rigorous data structure with real human voices, student testimonials, faculty spotlights, alumni outcomes. Video and visual content are underused levers for bringing your brand to life in ways that AI and humans both appreciate.
Let's get practical for a minute. If you're a marketing or enrollment leader listening to this, and you're not sure where to start, pick one flagship program and do a full audit. Are the facts current? Is every table, requirement, cost, and outcome structured and accessible? Can you export the data as JSON or CSV? Is there a clear owner for updates? Once you've got one program right, roll out the same model across your portfolio. It's not a sprint, but the compounding gains are real.
And don't be afraid to borrow from the best. Hemi's resource guides are full of templates, checklists, and case studies. The University of Toronto's Inquiry Sequence, MIT's admissions blog, and even small liberal arts colleges experimenting with one-stop advising. All of these are models you can adapt. No one has it perfect, but the leaders are the ones who are iterating, measuring, and sharing what works and what doesn't.
Let's wrap with a quick look at common pitfalls. First, don't let technical debt or CMS limitations be an excuse. There are workarounds. Export data, use plugins, or even build a simple central index in Google Sheets if you have to. Second, don't silo this as a web or IT project. Enrollment, marketing, and academic teams all have to be at the table. Third, don't wait for a perfect moment. The longer you delay, the further you fall behind on both AI citation and student experience.
I'll add one more. Don't confuse personalization with automation. Curiosity, as Jackson puts it, is the foundation. Technology is a tool, not a substitute for genuine interest in your students' stories, needs, and goals. The schools that win will be the ones that blend the best of both: scalable, structured data for AI, and authentic, human outreach for trust and connection. And that's not just theory, it's what the latest research and real-world examples are showing now.
That's a good place to land. The future of higher ed enrollment is answer-driven and data-powered, but it's still built on relationships. The institutions that get cited by AI will be the ones that have their house in order, clean, structured, accessible content, and the ones that students choose will be those that make them feel seen, heard, and supported. It's a complex mix, but the playbook is clearer than ever.
If you want more details, check out the Higher Education Marketing Institute blog and toolkits. There are deep dives on everything we've discussed, from technical audits to creative storytelling in a structured world. And if you're curious about where your own institution stands, try the AI website Grader from Search Influence. It gives you a prioritized list of technical and content fixes with real data. No guesswork, just actionable steps.
Thanks for sticking with us on Higher Education Marketing Insider. If this episode sparked ideas or raised questions, let us know. We're always looking for new topics and real-world stories from the field. Until next time, remember, the institutions that win AI search will be the ones that never lose sight of the student behind every query.